Hi, welcome back to My Mom Life. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Jordan, and today we are making Buckeyes. Let's get started. Here are the ingredients that we need to make these Buckeyes. You're going to need 1 small container of peanut butter, 2 sticks of butter. We are not going to be using paraffin wax. I totally forgot last year that I switched to coconut oil, so we're going to use coconut oil instead, powdered sugar, and semi-sweet chocolate chips. So now we are going to start by melting our butter and mixing that with our peanut butter. So I went ahead and got my butter in my bowl, and we are going to melt this. It makes it so much easier to combine the peanut butter with the butter when it's melted. So I'm going to get it nice and melted in the microwave, and then we are going to add our whole jar of peanut butter. This, I believe, is an 18-ounce jar of peanut butter, but I think they range from like 15 ounces to 18 ounces. So any small jar like this of peanut butter is going to work. We actually really enjoy the Great Value peanut butter, so that's why I have this one, because that is actually what we buy and eat on a regular basis. So I'm going to go ahead and add in our creamy peanut butter to the butter and get that mixed up. These Buckeyes have been made by my mom since I was a kid. Every holiday we would have these. The recipe actually came from a family friend when I was young. It was my friend from school. My mom got the recipe from her mom, and we have been making them ever since. They are pretty much just peanut butter balls dipped in chocolate, but we call them Buckeyes. And yeah, they're so yummy. We make them all of the time. I make them throughout the year, but especially at the holidays. And I wanted to get this video up before Christmas, but it just did not happen. And I ended up making a batch after Christmas, and I wanted to share this video with you. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up the peanut butter and butter, like I said, get it nice and smooth, and then we're going to add in our powdered sugar. I like to start by adding half of the powdered sugar in first, and then I'll add the rest in after I get this started. It's just easier that way. It makes less of a mess and it's easier to mix. So I'm going to add in 2 cups now. I will start mixing it by hand first, and then I'll get my hand mixer involved once it gets too thick for me to mix by hand. It even is hard for my hand mixer to handle, so don't be alarmed if you see it shaking and like going crazy. This does get really thick, but that is what we're wanting. So anyways, I'm going to get that first 2 cups of powdered sugar mixed up. Then I will add in an additional 2 cups, and I did notice that it just felt a little sticky still. There's a texture that you're looking for. You want it to hold up really nicely when you're dipping it in the chocolate, not just kind of, you need these to set up. So I needed it a little bit thicker, so I did end up adding an additional 1 cup of powdered sugar. I think that's where the 15 and 18 ounces of peanut butter come into play. In the recipe down in the description box, you'll see 4 to 5 cups of powdered sugar, and that just depends on the consistency once you get those 4 cups mixed in. So I'm going to get this mixed up, and then we will start rolling our peanut butter balls. At this point, I am checking the consistency, and like I said earlier, I just felt like it needed an additional cup of powdered sugar, so I went ahead and added that in, and then I was ready to start rolling out our Buckeyes. I did try and finish mixing it with the hand mixer. It just got super thick, so I did go in with a wooden spoon at the end and just kind of fold from the bottom up just to make sure I got all of that powdered sugar and butter and peanut butter mixed together. You don't want any inconsistency in your Buckeyes. These have to be perfect. They are absolutely delicious and everybody loves them, I promise. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch to my wooden spoon here and make sure that I got all of that mixed together nicely, and then we will start rolling out our Buckeyes. I like to use my cookie scoop, and that's my base for each Buckeye. I like to measure it out that way. These do make quite large peanut butter balls, so if you want them smaller, you could use a smaller scoop, or you could even just use a spoon and do it by hand. But I think this gives me a uniform size, and I don't mind the bigger size because it's just less rolling in the end. It's less work, but you can make them as small or as large as you want to. Then once I had all of these rolled out, I went ahead and popped my cookie sheet in the freezer. You want these to be super frozen before we start dipping them in the chocolate. That is key, because if they're not, they will fall off of the toothpick or whatever you're using to hold the peanut butter ball on when you're dipping it into the chocolate. It just won't work as well. So definitely give these a good hour in the freezer to set up before we start working with the chocolate. These are gonna go in the freezer, like I said, for about an hour, and then we will start working with our chocolate, getting it melted, and then start coating our Buckeyes. Once that hour was up and my peanut butter balls were super frozen, I went ahead and added some chocolate chips to a bowl. This is where I was telling you to totally ignore the paraffin wax. I switched to coconut oil. It just works so much better. So I add about a tablespoon of coconut oil, probably not even. I show you when I make another batch of this chocolate here in just a second how I do the coconut oil. This is a trick that I learned, I don't know how many years back, but use a corn cob holder to dip your peanut butter balls in. It holds up so much better than a toothpick, and it's just a lot easier to work with. So that's what I use. You can definitely use a toothpick if you want, but this is my tool of choice. I love to use this when I'm making Buckeyes. It just makes it a lot easier. The toothpicks always break on me, or the Buckeye falls off of it. It's harder to work with for me. So I'm gonna get all of our Buckeyes dipped. As you can see, you don't wanna dip it completely. That's what makes these Buckeyes. You leave the top of it open like that, and we will fill those holes in. I'll show you just a little trick that I do. You really just rub over the hole in it. It fills itself in, but I'll show you that here once I get all of them dipped in chocolate. So now I'm gonna add some more chocolate to my bowl because I have used it all up, and I'm gonna melt that in the microwave just for about 30 seconds. I'll mix it, melt it a little bit more. Here I am showing you the coconut oil. I literally it might even be only like a teaspoon. Yeah, that's not a tablespoon. That's like a teaspoon, maybe two. And I just dollop it into the chocolate. This is gonna keep that chocolate from getting super crunchy. You know, when you put chocolate in the fridge and it gets super hard, this gives it just a little bit, it keeps it a little soft, not to where it's gonna like not firm up, but it keeps it from getting that super hard shell, and it's just easier to eat and more yummy that way. So I'm gonna get this chocolate melted and continue dipping all of our Buckeyes. This is where I am filling in those holes that I made with the corn cob holder. Now that our peanut butter balls have been out of the freezer for a little bit, they're a little softer, so it's easier to fill these holes in when the peanut butter is soft. And you're just gonna rub over those holes and it will fill itself in pretty much. And that is it. These are such a hit in my house, in my family. My father-in-law loves these. Every time we see him, I have to give him a few Buckeyes, or I make him a batch. These are awesome to throw in the freezer and you can pull them out whenever you need. That's a good trick because they are kind of time consuming to make. I will have the recipe for these Buckeyes in the description box for you. I hope that you try these, even if you wait until next Christmas. Pin this recipe or something so that you have it, because it is so worth the work. These are so delicious. They're one of my favorites, and I hope that you try them. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope you subscribe and stick around, and I will see you on my next one. Bye, guys.